Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
She is like our go-to when we're trying to figure out life, feeling uneasy, things are weird. It's all about the energy. It's all about the universe. She is intuitive, a psychic, energy healer. So on and on and on and on. I've gotten so much insight. She's done readings on me, mind-blowing, so accurate, and she's back today. We're going to learn a lot. Alisha B is on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you this morning?
Really good. You are our professional of the year for a reason. You've revealed some things to me that no one else would have known, but it was definitely very insightful. Your meditations are incredible. We're going to walk that journey with somebody else you've helped. Who is that?
Yes. So today we have Carolyn. Amazing. She's done a lot of vibroacoustic and energy work with me, and she was wanting to tell her changes, what's come about of it. It's very exciting.
Carolyn, welcome. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, very well. So the acoustic thing I'm going to put to the side for a moment. The other work that Alisha did with you, tell us what you were looking to get out of it and what she actually did for you.
Well, I have always wondered about things that I could see or intuitively know. And it's been rather astonishing to me and those that realize that I'm correct, that I know something. Like my son, of course, mom's always right. But even so, I've given him advice that was absolutely spot on. And we couldn't have known at the time I gave it to him until the outcomes. And a boss I had walked into work one Monday morning, said good morning to me like he always did. And I looked up at him and I said, "You're leaving us." And he's like, "How did you know that?" And that's not the only thing, but there's just other things that I've discussed with Alisha, and it's blown my mind. And at one point, I told her about how when I would close my eyes, I would see things and I'd close my eyes tighter, and then all I could see was literally nothing, not even black. And I started that when I was a child. But at one point, I closed my eyes during one of our sessions and I saw things. And after, I can't remember if it was before or after, but she had told me something that my ex-father-in-law had said. And I realized one of the things I saw must have been him, because it was like a mouth that opened wide and then closed, but I couldn't see the face. I could just see a mouth. So she's taught me to trust in myself. She's helped me with anxiety a great deal. And just kind of opening my eyes to my own abilities and being able to discuss it with my kids, with my son and daughter-in-law who has abilities. So it's been very interesting.
So for you, it was confirmation of you feeling that you've got some kind of ability.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you were questioning it, and she helped you kind of laser into it and find a way to make it work.
Well, and not be afraid of it.
Yeah.
I have a dear friend that I've had for almost 30 years who's always told me, you have abilities. And I'm like, cool, you hold on to that because you're the one with the abilities. You handle that. I'll just sit here and support you 100%. I'm good with it, because I'm Jewish, and she always felt that I had some of the mysticism, which I don't know a lot about, but I've heard of it. There's Jewish mystics from what I understand. And she said that she felt that I had that ability. I'm like, cool, you take care of it. I wasn't ready, but in the last few years since my own mother passed away, and I had a visitation from her in a dream, I've started to kind of explore more. And then just as the last 9 years have gone by, I've been more and more interested in finding out what I can do.
I completely relate to what you're saying.
Yeah, to understand myself.
Right. And kind of, I'm going to just say, kind of play with it a little bit. Like
Yes.
my mom passed 6 years ago. I asked for a sign when I really needed one, about 3 years after she was gone. I got it, very specific.
Yes.
And I kept doing it when I
Yeah.
needed it. I don't want to overdo it. Like the
Yeah.
genie in the bottle, 3 wishes, don't want to overdo it.
Right. Exactly.
And most times I get very specific signs. And, there can be people out there like, oh, come on, really? That's fine. Believe whatever you want. These are specific. It sounds like that happened for you.
Yeah.
And for both of us, it seems like that was oh, wait a minute. We have something going on here. Let's pay even more attention. Let's give more of our energy to that and really kind of figure it out. But like you said, I would have said the same thing. And I'm not claiming to be psychic. I that's not me. I'm not going there. Nothing like that. It's more of just seeing what's going on around us, almost like allowing yourself to open your eyes and accept, oh, wow, there's that. Oh, then there's that. How did that even happen?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's confidence build. It's so self-confidence is not something I'm great at. Never have really been. I mean, I guess to a point, but this has really made me feel more confident in just my own emotions.
Yeah.
And it's just really, honestly, it's brought my son and daughter-in-law and granddaughter and I much closer. But my grandsons aren't involved in any of it. My granddaughter's only 2, but things that she says and does, like she sees my mom. And I found a picture of my mom that Alisha said what she looked like to her. And I said, I know that picture. And I found the picture. It was a picture my dad carried in his wallet until he passed. And when I showed it to my granddaughter, she goes, Appy. So she calls my mom Appy. I don't know where it comes from, but that's what she calls her. So now she has a picture of her and she'll point into a corner and say, Appy.
Wow. Alisha, when you started working with Carolyn, what was the vibe you got in terms of ability, just overall?
So first one was 100% an empath. She walked in and had 2 of her angels and her spirit guide walking right behind her. The funny thing is, normally when I do a reading, we have a conversation first, and I'm like, okay, we're going to get started, and then your message will come through. Her mom was not waiting. She just popped in and started talking to her and letting her know things to come about to help Carolyn. So it was all about what she needed in that moment, which is what it's always what's in the moment of what you need. And so, but now she has the ability to see, so she has sight. And she has a knowing or an intuitive knowing for situations and the ability to see a future situation, not know where it's placed. So that's something that is still something to work on, but she has that forward sight, empathy, and the ability to see the other side and communicate.
Is what she presented to you unlike what you've seen before? Is it, many of us have something there, or we all do, but some of us are able to tune into it maybe a little bit more than others?
I would say the thing different with her is hers started when she was younger. But it wasn't like cultivated. She was aware of it and then went away. When it came back, she's like, wait a second, I had this when I was a kid. And so that knowledge that she's had it her whole life is different than what I normally encounter. Most people are like, oh, it just started. And it normally starts early on. We just forget about it. So she had that connection already, which is like a step forward in getting it cultivated more.
Wow. Does it scare you, or did it scare you, Carolyn?
The only thing that scared me was something that I saw when I was little, but the rest of it that I would have, it just sort of, it's like, I know this, but okay. It was comfortable. I don't know if that was a guide comforting me along the way when these things would happen, but it was just kind of like, okay. So I guess some of it may be that this was not something that my family talked about. It wasn't something they avoided. It just wasn't in our frame of reference. I mean, I'm going to be 58, so we're talking the 60s, 70s, early 80s. This just very open, accepting family. And I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. So, you know, I don't know if that gives you an idea of what it was like during that time. But no, everything was comfortable. I just didn't know what to do with it. And I didn't know anybody to talk to about it. So I was like, okay, bye. Talk to you later.
Yeah. Can you share, are you comfortable sharing the sign you got from your mother?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I talk about it a lot because of friends that lose loved ones, especially friends that lose their mothers. My father passed when I was 15 in 1982.
Oh my gosh. So did mine. Right.
Really?
Yeah. Right. like the weird.
Yeah. Well, my son's father passed when he was 15, actually 1 month to the day after my father passed, only in 2011. So it wasn't even a week after mom passed away. Everything was very surreal. I cared for my mom for 16 years, 14 of them in my home. And so she passed here in my home. And it was Saturday morning, and one of my best friends was coming to get me. And I just was so tired. I just kind of lay down on the couch waiting for her to get here. And I guess I fell asleep, but I remember seeing the clock, looking at the clock, and then I fell asleep. And all of a sudden, in my face was my mom's face. What looked like my mom in her bedroom with the shades up because it was the coloring and the lighting. And she looked at me and she went, all better. So she had a lot of health issues and her mouth was distorted from having a nerve nicked during surgery on her parotid gland. And so she was a little droopy and her lips were swollen, all the stuff that happens when they're passing. And very dry and everything, but she just wiped it off and said, see, I'm all better. And I woke up and it wasn't even 5 minutes that I was asleep.
Carolyn, you're freaking me out because I have to share this.
Is that what happened to you?
Oh my gosh. So the dad thing, around the same time, I was a little bit older. My mom had cancer, diagnosed with skin cancer. They removed half her nose, and just what you described and then it showed up and this is just a few years before she passed. She didn't pass from this. It was natural causes. But a few months after they removed half her nose, what you just described in your mom is my mom, the parotid gland. But wait, there's more. Like,
are we related?
But wait, there's more. And I it's not about me, but I have to share this because it's freaky weird. In January, I was diagnosed with the same skin cancer out of nowhere, popped up out of nowhere. In 10 weeks, I had a tumor on my neck where my mom did, same skin cancer. Then they told me I had stage 3 and it had gone into my parotid gland. They made a mistake. It was wrong. I had I won't say just, but I had surgery, all good, all healed. And the doctor that operated on my mom became available in the health system my insurance was available in. I somehow got him. He goes, I got you. You're good. I'm going to take care of you. I said, you remember my mom? He's like, I don't remember. He's like, oh, she was a tough one. I'm like, yep. And he's like, hey, we became really good friends during that whole journey. So exactly what you're saying. When you say parotid, I'm like, and
yeah, she had a parotid tumor in her salivary gland. And we were in California and this was many, many, many years ago. And they took it out and they couldn't decide if it was cancer or not. So they did the radiation. So went through all the radiation, but then later they thought the tumor had come back. So they went to remove it and it was just scar tissue. And that's when they nicked the seventh nerve, which made her look like she'd had a stroke.
And my mom had a little droopy on her mouth after that surgery.
Yeah. It's a hard place. You can't fault them. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah, well, yeah, I get it. That's why I was in freak mode when they told me stage 3, and the lymph node around it was just inflamed. And I know why, because I had a weird virus a few months before, and I think that was left over. But to them, it looked like stage 3. But what are the chances we're having this conversation? There is no coincidence here. It's like, you know, could be anywhere in terms of the body, and that's where it was.
Well,
my mom.
I'm a firm believer that people come into each other's lives for a reason, season, lifetime, all that stuff.
Oh, heck yeah.
But there's just odd coincidences. Like I've known Alisha. Alisha, I don't know, when did you guys start nursing school, or when did David?
We met in 2018.
So we met in 2018 very briefly when she came over to do study group with David, but I haven't seen her since until 3 weeks ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I almost feel like we're talking about signs, moms, and all of that our moms are like hanging saying, yeah, let's just throw them that one. Like weird.
100%. 100%.
There's a million people, bazillion people in the world, tons of different health issues where it could be. How this was connected to me, my mom, then your mom, the dad thing. I gotta ask, how did your dad pass?
It just depends on who you talk to. Basically, my dad had sleep apnea, and back in those days, they didn't know a lot about it. And the only place he could go to was California. I'm drawing a complete blank on the school, but he went to a university. They did a study, did the tracheostomy and everything, but the degree of the sleep apnea that he had was very, very great. And that was back in, he passed in 82. The surgery was in 81. So basically, sleep apnea can hurt your organs severely, just lack of oxygen. And one day he went to work and he fell asleep at his desk and didn't wake up.
Wow. Oh, wow.
He was 46 years old. So he died on August 27th of 1982. My son's father died on September 27th of 2011.
No coincidences. And lasering this down, the last significant sign I got from my mom was I changed the modem here in this office, saved $100. Thank you, Mom. And flip it over for the password automatically generated. There's 4 digits. I'm staring at it on the wall right now. -Rose, -2 digits. Rose is her name. She shows her name all the time. But I try to figure out what the digits are. How does it go? And it always comes up 7-11, 7-11, 11 and 7. What's going on there? I couldn't. I had nothing, and I threw it to my daughter, teenager, and she's like, "Maybe it's your dad." I'm like, So I thought about it, and he died on 7-11.
Oh my goodness!
So then, of a heart attack, just dropped on his boat. And I have a close relationship with him. My parents got divorced before that. So that's why I didn't remember the 7-11.
Right.
So all right, let me get, heart workup. Maybe that's a sign. I go to the cardiologist. This is last year. Oh, yeah. I walk into the cardiologist and there's a woman at the counter, the intake. All right, thank you very much. Wait, no, be right. Wait. I look at her shirt and it says Rose. Her name was Rose. Like, what are the chances of that? You can't make that up. Like, I'm like, I just walk and, observe.
Yeah.
So the date thing, yeah. Crazy. Do you think, Carolyn, that we all have some degree of intuitiveness, psychic ability, but we have so much going on?
Absolutely.
We can't tune into it. Some can more than others.
Well, I think so. There's a lot involved in it. I think, and I know that I've watched your podcast several times since finding out about Alisha and stuff. So energy. Intuitiveness can come from the energy you're picking up from the person that's delivering whatever they're delivering to you. So it's whatever energy they're putting out, you're feeling. You have a choice as to whether you feel it, accept it, figure it out, and do what you will with it. Say, ooh, red flag, walk away, or say, let me just see where this goes, or hey, I'm just going to ignore it and see what happens.
I usually ignore it and I screw up.
Yeah.
We just had this conversation before we got on this call, Alisha and I. It's like, the universe is telling me, slow down, dude, stop. And then I didn't. So now I felt sick yesterday because I know that I was giving my energy to a lot of people and there's a lot going on. That's all it was. It's pretty amazing once you start figuring it out, accepting it, just observing all of it. Wow.
But I think it's a matter of what people are taught to believe, what they're allowed to believe. So there's taught and taught to be allowed to believe, or taught to not be allowed.
Yeah. And judged potentially. Could be family, whatever. Do you feel, Carolyn, that since your mom appeared and you feel the presence, was that your validation for when somebody passes, their energy is always around? That's always around you.
I think it was probably the final validation. While she was in hospice here, she was talking to her mom and her dad. And I can't remember the word for it, but I'm going to say it's a Latin word for chamomile. And chamomile is used in making sherry wine. My grandfather was in the liquor business, named his daughter Sherry. And she kept saying that word, going, no. And she'd say the word. And I finally asked a friend of mine, and she looked it up and she said, it's used in making sherry. I'm like, oh God. Wow. So I knew she was talking to her dad, which surprised me. So the other thing that surprised me is, and I don't know if you know this or not, so I'm not trying to insult you, but Jews don't believe that there's a heaven. The reward for a good life is a good life. Me, I'm just one of those, I'm proud to be Jewish, but I don't follow everything. So I do believe that there's a heaven, but my mom never did. And she was talking to her father. At one point, she was talking to grandma, and she kept trying to get out of the bed. She's like, no, mother is telling me I have to go with her. And I'd just put my hands on her and I'd say, Mom, you don't have to get up to go with her. Just close your eyes. Because it was very drawn out. And as much as I didn't want her to close her eyes, I knew that it was grandma trying to say, come on, I've got you, And so I guess that was another thing that helped me along in my acceptance of things, was that, okay, I'm not doing anything wrong by believing this. Because, you have your religious teachings and you just sort of, you listen to them. Well, I listen to them and I choose my way, but then there's the guilt, which, of course comes with it and stuff. So it helped. And then when Mom came to me, my guilt in feeling like I possibly could have done so much more to make her happy or comfortable or laugh or just things, not be so short with her during the whole time, really. She was trying to let me know I'm okay. But Alisha will tell you, she's like, no, you did great. And it's that released a lot for me, because I've spent the last 9 years just saying I should have done more. I shouldn't have been so short with you or short-tempered or, your father passes. Okay. It's very, very hard. I was daddy's girl, but when Mom passes for me and my other friend whose mom just passed, the umbilical cord is finally cut. And even though you know everything that they taught you and you've emulated and you've done your best, you feel like you can't do any of it again. Yep. I remember turning in circles in my living room going, I don't know how to do this thing called life anymore. You know?
I know.
Yeah.
I would love to go on. We're out of time.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, not at all. Oh, this has been wonderful. I will say, I could say those things, the guilt, should have done this, should have done that, should have been there, should have spent more, blah, 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 time, blah, all of that. I don't know why. I don't feel it so much, maybe a tiny bit, because I feel the presence of my mom around all the time.
See, I feel it more now. That's why I'm feeling better.
Yeah. And it's weird. It's strange. I don't feel it with my father. I don't get those signs. I have what you just described regarding to him. Long stories, whatever. I don't know why some show up and some don't. Maybe that's for another show. I don't know. Wonderful talking with.
Mine were all there. It's just they weren't allowed to talk because my mom wouldn't let them.
Right. Well,
Mom.
So true.
Just amazing. Just the connections. And I'll bet you, Carolyn, if we kept going, there's probably other things that would present, if we, go deeper. Alisha, amazing today. I know you didn't get to say a lot.
No, I love listening though.
I think Carolyn said it all, and it was a lot about you. If somebody wants to kind of figure this stuff out, maybe get a reading, whatever it might be, best way to find you, what's that?
Best way is insightpsychics.com/Alisha. You can also text me or call me at 256-469-8111.
I'm kind of speechless. This was so cool. There are
Thank
answers.
you for having me.
Oh, thank you for your story and connection. Yeah, you're thinking things. There's a reason for it. Get some answers. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.